On a dreadful night, in the ancient, rain-swept city of Corinth, a young prince named Hipponeus had accidentally killed his brother, Deleiades, over a drunken brawl. As he stood over the lifeless body, as the madness subsided, he realized the gravity of the sin he had just committed. Immediately, he took to his feet and fled Corinth. Hipponeus knew that exile was his only sanctuary.
He went toward the grove! After him!
So he journeyed across the rugged, wind-scourged ridges of the Peloponnese. Until he reached the Cyclopean walls of Tiryns.
I am Hipponeus, son of Glaucus, prince of Corinth. I carry blood guilt on my hands. I seek the purification and the hospitality of your king.
Tiryns was ruled by King Pegasus.
You killed your own blood. By accident. I know only that I cannot undo it. The laws of Zeus are older than my kingdom. A man who comes to my gate seeking shelter will receive it.
Upon hearing about the plight of Hipponeus, King Pegasus swore to offer him sanctuary. He performed the grim rituals of purification, slaughtering a suckling pig and pouring its cleansing blood over the exile's stained hands, washing away the immediate curse.
Rise! You are no longer Hipponeus of Corinth. You are Bellerophon. You begin again.
Drink! Drink until the night ends! Drink, my friends! Tonight we honor a prince of Corinth who has found the favor of the gods!
Yet, safety in the ancient world was an illusion woven by thin threads. As Bellerophon lived within the palace of Tiryns, his physical grace caught the attention of Queen Sthenoboa. Her gaze followed him everywhere. When the palace grew quiet, she approached him.
Tiryns is a cold palace at night. There are rooms in the East Wing where a man might find warmth.
Your husband gave me shelter when I had none. He poured the blood of purification over my hands. His roof is sacred to me.
My husband is an old man, and you are.
The guest of a man who saved my life. That is all I am in this palace. Good night, my queen.
Humiliated and consumed by a scorned woman's fury, Stheneboa tore her robes, disheveled her hair, and ran to King Pegasus.
He came to my chamber. The exile you sheltered. The man whose hands you washed. And he tried to...
Yet the king was trapped by his own piety. He could not kill a guest who slept under his roof without drawing the catastrophic wrath of the gods upon his lineage.
He sleeps under my roof. If I take his life here, Zeus will destroy my lineage for 3 generations. But there are other ways.
Instead, Pegasus devised a labyrinthine plot of cowardice and cruelty.
I need a man of your qualities, a Corinthian prince, to carry a message to my father-in-law, Lycia, King Eubotes. He rules from the city of Yantus. Will you carry this for me?
I owe you my life and my name. It would be my privilege.
Sail safe, Bellerophon. May the gods guide your ship.
The tablet contained instructions to ensure that the bearer of the tablet was put to death immediately. Unaware that he carried his own death warrant strapped to his leather chlamys, Bellerophon set sail across the Aegean. When Bellerophon arrived in Lycia, he was received by an emissary of King Iobates, who received him with magnificent oriental pomp.
Bellerophon of Corinth, King Iobates of Lycia bids you welcome to Xanthus.
For 9 days, the smoke of sacrificed oxen rose to the heavens, and for 9 nights, the wine flowed from deep bronze craters. Bellerophon sat at the right hand of the king, demonstrating the flawless manners of a prince. In Lycia, it was customary that a host must not question a guest's identity or business until 9 days of feasting had passed. On the morning of the 10th day, Iobates finally broke the seal of the tablet brought from Tiryns. The old king's eyes narrowed as he decoded the scratches on the wood. His daughter's honor demanded blood, yet Iobates faced the same divine conundrum as Proitus. To murder Bellerophon as a guest outright would outrage the gods. Iobates lowered the tablet and looked at the young warrior and spoke of a terror that plagued his outer provinces. A creature so unnatural, so devastating, that no mortal army could stand before it. He asked Bellerophon, as a champion of Greece, to rid Lycia of this nightmare. It was called the Chimera.
A monster of the old world, I ask you, as a champion of Greece, as a hero under the protection of the gods, to rid Lycia of this thing.
I will go.
The Chimera was a blasphemy against nature, born of the primordial monsters Typhon and Echidna. It possessed the body and ferocious head of a man-eating lion, a second head of a venomous goat sprouting grotesquely from its spine, and a long, muscular serpent for a tail. From its reptilian and feline maws, it blasted torrents of liquid chthonic fire that turned olive groves to ash and melted the armor of bronze-clad phalanxes. Bellerophon understood the trap instantly. To hunt the Chimera on foot was to walk into a furnace. Desperate, he sought the counsel of Polyidus, the most revered seer of Lycia. The prophet closed his eyes, listened to the flight of the birds, and gave Bellerophon a cryptic directive.
The solution exists. You must capture Pegasus, the winged horse. With Pegasus beneath you, no fire can reach you. You will fight from the sky.
Where can I find Pegasus?
He drinks from the sacred spring of Pyrene, on the Acropolis of Corinth.
Corinth. The city that wants me dead. Yes.
Risking everything, Bellerophon slipped back into Corinthian territory under the cover of darkness. There, drinking under the moonlight, was the magnificent Pegasus.
Easy. Easy now.
But as Bellerophon stepped forward, the stallion reared and flew into the night sky. Exhausted and despairing, Bellerophon collapsed within the sanctuary of Athena that stood near the spring.
I don't know how to do this. I am one man. I have no more tricks.
He fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. In the dead of night, a brilliant golden luminescence filled the temple. The goddess Athena appeared before him. She did not speak in empty, comforting words. Instead, she laid an object on the floor beside him and vanished. Bellerophon awoke as the first light of dawn filtered through the temple columns. Beside him lay a bridle crafted entirely of solid, shimmering gold, etched with celestial runes. Hurrying back to the spring, he found Pegasus drinking once more. This time, as Bellerophon approached, he held up the divine artifact.
Sensing the presence of Olympus,
The wild, untamable stallion grew still. It lowered its great head, snorting softly, allowing Bellerophon to slide the bit between its teeth and drape the golden straps across its pristine neck. With a surge of adrenaline, Bellerophon leaped onto the horse's back. Pegasus expanded his massive wings and vaulted into the sky. The hunt for the Chimera was an exercise in aerial warfare. Bellerophon flew back to Lycia, tracking the black smoke that billowed from the volcanic valleys of Mount Olympus. From the safety of the upper air currents, he looked down into a jagged canyon and saw the monstrosity. The Chimera roared, its lion head snapping, its goat head spewing a column of orange-purple flame that scorched the canyon walls. Bellerophon realized that his arrows, though true, could not pierce the beast's thick, armored hide from such a distance, and to get closer meant being incinerated. He devised a brilliant, tactical solution. He took his heavy hunting spear and affixed a massive block of raw, unrefined lead to its bronze tip. Gripping the golden reins, Bellerophon urged Pegasus into a vertical, screaming dive. The wind roared in his ears as the ground rushed up to meet him. The Chimera saw the white shape descending and unleashed a colossal vortex of fire directly at the rider. As they swept past the beast's roaring jaws, Bellerophon drove his lead-tipped spear straight down into the open, flame-spewing throat of the Chimera. The creature's own intense, volcanic breath acted instantly upon the weapon. The lead melted within its gullet, turning into a searing, liquid torrent that poured down into its internal organs. The Chimera's roars choked into muffled gasps as the molten metal hardened inside its chest, suffocating its fire and tearing its vitals apart. Bellerophon had achieved the unthinkable. He had just slain the Chimera unharmed.
When Bellerophon returned to the palace of Iobates carrying the severed, grotesque horn of the goat head, the king's face paled. Rather than honoring the hero, Iobates immediately sent him into another trap, a campaign against the Solimi, a savage, warlike hill tribe known for their unrelenting brutality in close-quarters combat. Bellerophon did not fight them on their terms. Riding Pegasus high above the mountain passes, he rained boulders and heavy javelins down upon their tightly packed formations, crushing their army without taking a single scratch. Frustrated, Iobates deployed the Amazons, the fierce, elite daughters of Ares who terrorized the borders of Lycia. Again, using the absolute tactical advantage of flight, Bellerophon soared above their cavalry, executing perfect archery runs, scattering their forces into the wilderness. Finally, driven to desperation, Iobates selected the 12 bravest, most lethal warriors from his personal palace guard and set a claustrophobic ambush in a narrow, rocky defile through which Bellerophon had to pass on foot. But the hero's reflexes were honed by divine favor. Alerted by Pegasus's sudden rearing, Bellerophon drew his bronze Perizonium sword. In a flurry of calculated, brutal strikes, he parried their spears, severed their limbs, and cut down every single assassin until the gorge ran red with Lycian blood.
Walking calmly into Iobates' audience chamber, covered in the blood of the king's finest men, Bellerophon dropped their shattered crests onto the marble floor.
They were waiting in the defile on the road to Kragus. How are you still standing?
He realized that this man was no ordinary mortal exile. The king surrendered his malice. He showed Bellerophon the fatal tablet from Pretus, confessing the plot.
This came from Tiryns, from my daughter's husband. It seems I was sent a man of extraordinary virtue and asked to murder him in payment for that virtue. I am not proud of what I attempted. No mortal man achieves what you have achieved in these months. The blood of the gods runs in your veins.
To make amends, Iobates gave Bellerophon his youngest daughter, Philonoe, in marriage, and bestowed upon him half of all the royal lands of Lycia, fertile plains of orchards and vineyards.
My father sends you to me as a kind of apology.
He does. You're under no obligation.
The exile had become a king. The murderer had become the greatest savior Asia Minor had ever known. But true tragedy is not born in the valleys of failure. It is cultivated on the highest peaks of success. For many years, Bellerophon ruled Lycia with justice and power. His wife bore him 3 beautiful children, Isander, Hippolochus, and Laodamia. His name was spoken with awe from the shores of Ionia to the grand palaces of Mycenae. But as the hair on Bellerophon's temples began to silver, a subtle, catastrophic poison took root in his heart. The Greeks called it Hubris, the overweening pride that causes a mortal to forget the fragile nature of their clay. Bellerophon would spend hours standing on the highest terraces of his palace, looking up at the sky. He looked at his aging hands, then at Pegasus, who remained eternally young, his white coat gleaming with undiminished divine light. Bellerophon began to resent his mortality.
You haven't slept.
I killed the Chimera. I conquered the Solimi, the Amazons, every enemy of Lycia. I cleansed the blood of my brother. I did everything that was asked of me.
You did. You did all of it.
Then why must I grow old like a peasant? Why must I rot into the ground like any other man who did nothing?
Because you are a man.
I am no longer certain that is true.
He conceived a plan of ultimate, unpardonable blasphemy. He determined that he would fly Pegasus up the axis of the world, straight through the clouds of Mount Olympus, and take his seat among the immortal gods as an equal. On a clear, fateful morning, without telling his wife or his counselors, Bellerophon donned his finest golden armor and his crest of white horsehair. he mounted Pegasus and commanded the stallion to climb. The horse, sensing the terrifying ambition of its master, hesitated, but the golden bridle, the tool of Athena, compelled its obedience. Pegasus struck the air with his massive wings, rising faster and higher than ever before. Upward they soared, leaving the city of Xanthus behind as a mere speck of dust. They passed the mortal mountains, penetrated the thick, roiling sea of clouds, and entered the pristine, blinding ether of the upper heavens. The shimmering crystalline palaces of Olympus began to materialize in the distance. Bellerophon laughed, a wild, manic sound that echoed through the celestial vault. He could see the grand council chamber of the gods. He was doing what no mortal had ever achieved. He was storming the heavens. High above, sitting upon his throne, Zeus, the king of gods, looked down. His lightning bolts rested beside him, but he did not reach for them. A strike of lightning would give Bellerophon a hero's death. Zeus deemed that hubris of this magnitude required a punishment far more degrading, a slow dismantling of the mortal's pride. Zeus leaned forward and summoned a single common gadfly, an oistros. With a flick of his divine finger, he sent the insect buzzing down through the ether. The gadfly descended unnoticed by Bellerophon, who was shouting defiances at the horizon. The insect landed sharply on the sensitive skin beneath Pegasus's tail and drove its stinger deep. The reaction was instantaneous. Pegasus reared violently, spinning along his axis in the thin air. Bellerophon's grip slipped from the golden reins. The violent, twisting motion threw him completely out of the saddle. For a fraction of a second, the king hung suspended at the apex of the universe. Then, gravity reclaimed him. The fall was an eternity of terror. Bellerophon plummeted through the ether, tumbling over and over. The golden armor that had signaled his glory now weighed him down like an anchor of doom. He screamed, but the wind tore the sound from his throat. He watched as Pegasus, freed from the burden of mortal pride and the golden bridle, continued his flight upward toward Olympus, where he would eventually be welcomed into Zeus's stables to carry the gods' thunderbolts forever. Bellerophon was left behind. He crashed through the thick layer of clouds, down, down, toward the unforgiving earth. He did not die. The gods willed that he survive the impact to ensure his punishment was absolute. He slammed into the thorny, desolate wastes of the Aleian plain in Cilicia. The impact shattered his body. When Bellerophon dragged himself from the dirt, he was completely blind, his eyes scorched by the glare of the upper heavens and the friction of the descent. One of his legs was permanently twisted and lame, dragging uselessly behind him. The final act of his life was a slow, agonizing eclipse. He could no longer find his way back to his palace, and out of shame and madness, he chose never to return. He spent his remaining years groveling in the dirt of the Aleian plain. He wore rags that rotted off his frail body. He was completely alone. He died in the dirt, a withered husk, with no monument to mark his bones. A warning etched into the landscape of Greece that the sky belongs only to the gods, and those who attempt to fly too high will always be broken by the earth. If you have enjoyed watching the video, please subscribe to our channel and do not forget to hit the like button.